If you're the go-to technical expert in your architecture, engineering, or construction firm, then you need to hear this. We're going to walk through a playbook that'll help you transform your career from being the person who knows the software to being the person who leads the whole strategy. So let's be honest for a second. Are you a Revit Hermit? I think you know who I'm talking about. You practically live inside the model, you speak in keyboard shortcuts, and you're convinced that mastering just one more plugin is your golden ticket to the leadership table. You think your value comes from being the smartest software wizard in the room. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a trap. And here's the absolute truth of it. Technology itself is not innovation. You know, BIM, VDC, AI, they're just tools. They're vehicles. And if you stay locked in that technology silo, you are putting a hard ceiling on your own career. Real innovation, the stuff that actually matters, is about solving human problems. So to get unstuck, you have to evolve from a technology technician into an operational integrator. Now, to make that leap, you need to understand a secret that you will never, ever find in any software manual. It's really the difference between knowing the rules of the game and knowing how to win the game. And it all comes down to something called tacit knowledge. You know, I actually first stumbled upon this secret not in some fancy office, but on a construction site. I was a teenager working for my dad, who was a master plumber. And the most important part of the day, it wasn't the work itself. Nope, it was the lunch break. That's when the real learning happened. When all the old timers shared stories and tricks of the trade you could never, ever write down. And that really illustrates the two kinds of knowledge. On one hand, you've got explicit knowledge. That's the what. It's the stuff we can write down. BIM or project execution plans, software manuals, you name it. But then there's tacit knowledge, and that's the how. It's the intuition, the gut feeling, that secret sauce you only get from years of experience. It's the wisdom that lives inside people's heads. To understand how to integrate those solutions, we have to look away from the computer screen for a moment. Think about a physical job site, maybe a plumbing crew on a lunch break. They aren't reading manuals. They are passing down the nuance of the craft through conversation and shared experience. Focusing strictly on explicit data ignores the intuition that makes a project work. Driving industry change requires a system for capturing that messy, tacit human experience and encoding it into your digital tools. This diagram outlines a framework known as the SECI spiral. It maps the mechanical process of taking disorganized, intuitive knowledge and systematically converting it into a structured, explicit standard that an entire organization can use. To make that spiral turn, you have to build what organizational theorists call a BA. It is a shared context, a community of practice built entirely on trust, psychological safety, and the exchange of stories. As the knowledge management guru Ikujiro Nanaka put it, the real magic, the key to all innovation, happens when you manage the dance between what's written down and what's learned out in the field. Your job as an integrator is to build the dance floor where that can happen. So how do you build that space? Well, you don't do it with a corporate memo or by scheduling another mandatory meeting. No way. You build an engine for innovation. You build a community. It's called a community of practice. And let's be crystal clear about something. This is not a committee. We all know committees are where good ideas go to die. A community of practice, or a COP, is a voluntary group of people who are fired up by a shared passion to solve problems and learn from each other. It's all about trust and shared goals, not top-down mandates. A really successful community has 3 key ingredients. First, you need the domain. That's the shared problem you all genuinely care about solving. Next, you need the community, the trusted relationships where you feel safe enough to ask the so-called dumb questions. And finally, you have the practice, That's your shared toolkit of stories, solutions, and hard-won lessons. Okay. This all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at the proof. The Mortensen case study is where we see these ideas generate massive, tangible results. So rewind to 2010. Mortensen's leadership set this huge, audacious goal. Use lean and virtual design and construction to improve project delivery by 25% and focus on the last 100 feet, the field team. They didn't just say, hey, go buy more software and hardware. They empowered a community of practice to weave technology into the very fabric of how they built. They gave them the freedom to focus on business value, not just on making pretty models. When I led the IDAT, Integrated Delivery Advancement team at Mortensen, we started with 60 dedicated VDC integrators. But we didn't stay a tech club. We included the project and business leaders. We grew to over 100 members because we made the community about more than software. We made it about project delivery excellence. So they used incredibly sophisticated tools like these virtual reality and 4D models, but not as some technical exercise. No, it was a visual planning and communication tool. They were literally building projects virtually, solving incredibly complex logistical and scheduling headaches before a single shovel ever hit the dirt. This was about crushing risk, not just finding a few clashes. And the results? They were staggering. The first number you need to see is 32. That was the average number of days they were able to cut from project schedules as measured over 18 projects. By solving problems in the model first, their work in the field became way more efficient, predictable, and just plain faster. And it gets even more specific on just one project, the Pagula Ice Arena. They saved $475,000. How? It's almost ridiculously simple. They used immersive virtual reality walkthroughs to get the client to sign off on designs early. It was all about integrating all stakeholders to drive earlier and better informed decisions. Across all 18 projects analyzed by the University of Minnesota in 2013, this whole approach led to an average direct cost reduction of nearly 3%. Now, that's not some theoretical value on a spreadsheet. That is real money they return to their customers. It's definitive proof that investing in this process has a direct, positive impact on the bottom line. To learn more, check out the 2014 Importance of Virtual Design report in my UNSTUCK community portal. And ultimately, this wasn't just about saving some money on a few projects. This was a strategy for growth. One of the key strategies was on building this incredible culture of knowledge, sharing, and integration. Mortensen scaled from a $2 billion company to a $5 billion company in just over a decade. That is what happens when you turn technology into a true strategic advantage. Innovation became embedded in their DNA, and it had nothing to do with software or AI. It was all about leadership and connecting people to knowledge and capabilities with a desired outcome to improve their client experience and reduce the time and cost of design and construction through the integration of digital solutions. Putting people at the center of innovation. So how can you start this yourself right now where you are? Well, the best part about this whole thing is you don't need a massive budget. You don't even need permission from the higher ups. Let's get into a simple playbook you can put into action today. Okay, here's your 3-step stealth start. First, find a strategic knot. That means find a real business problem that's causing your project manager to lose sleep. And talk about it in terms of risk, not in terms of BIM or tech. Second, have a simple 15-minute coffee call with just one other person who's struggling with that same exact problem. Bam, your community is born. Third, take one piece of your own tacit knowledge, a clever trick or workaround you have, and turn it into a simple, shareable visual guide. Let's be real for a second. You're already spending half your life in video calls. Whether you're chatting with your immediate team or peers outside the organization, you're constantly solving problems and sparking ideas. But here's the problem. Most of that brilliance just evaporates the moment you click End Meeting. Here's a quick tip to change the game. Simply hit record. When you're in a session and a nugget of wisdom drops, don't let it vanish. Save that link, post it to your repository, or better yet, build a vibrant video library. Think of it as a living brain trust where everyone can access informal, raw knowledge exactly when they need it. To make these sessions truly move the needle, don't just talk, strategize. You can use my 5P strategy as a North Star to keep things focused. It starts with the purpose. Why are we actually here? Then bring in the people and define the process of how the work gets done. Next, look at the platform. How can our technology actually accelerate our decisions rather than slowing them down? Finally, discuss the performance. What is the actual desired outcome for the people using this technology? When you find a solution that works, find others with similar problems and document it together. This isn't just about saving files. It's about building a system that works for everyone. Here is the secret. The act of sharing your knowledge, especially without waiting for permission, is a total power move. It's the bridge that transitions you from being a technical specialist to becoming an operational integrator. You stop just doing tasks and start building the nervous system of the entire team. Think about the new team members who are just starting out. Your shared tacit knowledge is the ultimate onboarding gift. This is an investment in people, and when you commit to it, the compound interest is incredible. Stay consistent, stay open, and I promise you'll be amazed by the results. Look, our industry is full of people who can process information. It is starving for people who can integrate it. You already have the technical skills. Now it's time to connect those skills to the business. So stop just modeling buildings. It's time to start modeling the future of your company. And your first step? Go ask one person today, what's the one thing you wish the model could tell you that it doesn't? Their answer? That's where your real journey begins. That's it for this week's Mentors Lab Video Explainer. For the full Community of Practice playbook, join my UNSTUCK ecosystem to download today. My knowledge is free to individuals looking to transition from technology specialist to operational integrator. If you are interested in working with me, drop me a DM and let's collaborate. At OpEx5, I help organizations integrate knowledge management, operational excellence, and digital transformation to achieve what's possible. With 3 decades of experience driving innovation in the AEC industry, I'm dedicated to helping others succeed. By bridging human experience and digital execution, your role shifts from modeling buildings to modeling the future. Aloha.